calling the Afterlife Hotline, your one-stop shop for all things spooky, weird, and possibly cursed. Press 1 for ghost stories that will ruin your sleep schedule. Press 2 for paranormal mysteries we definitely won't solve. Press 3 to speak to a demon. Just kidding, unless... If you're still here, congrats. You've officially ignored all the red flags. And now you're stuck with us. Hope you like bad jokes and spooky stuff. This is the Afterlife Hotline. Boo!
Welcome back to the Afterlife Hotline. This is round 2 of this recording because I had an oopsie poopsie and there was no audio. So
it happens.
You know
stuff happens.
Today we're going to go into Arkansas cryptids. I'm really excited. Some Arkansas local legends and stuff like that.
Yep.
So
very excited.
The first one I'm going to talk about is the water panther, which is said to be in Heber Springs. It is a creature described as a cross between Sasquatch and a puma, and it is rumored to haunt the waters of Greer's Ferry Lake,
which is insane.
Which we've gone to. There. Yeah, we've gone to that lake many times. It's a great cliff jumping place. It's a very popular spot, I feel like.
Yep.
Although its origins appear to lie in a 2007 book. The myth of the water panther begins with multiple Native American tribes, and the legend may have been brought to Arkansas by the Shawnee, who were invited by the Western Cherokee in the early 19th century. So even though the book is what appears to have the origins of the water panther, it dates back to the 19th century.
Mm-hmm.
The beast was described as a malevolent spirit with features of a big cat or dragon that would drag people underwater to their deaths. Never a way you want to go.
No. Which also just feeds into the fear of the fact that I don't like big bodies of water.
Again, see,
and
I'm
my toes. Yeah, I'm good in a pool, but in lakes and oceans, no. If I can't see, I'm not
for it.
I'm not. No.
Yeah, no. I lakes,
especially
and
if the water's like, because you know when your toes go down further, it gets cold, or you can like feel like the muck and. Nope.
Yeah, nope. I'm good if it's the ocean. If it's a lake or a pond, I'm not for it. But I also have the irrational fear in a pool that there's going to be a shark.
I mean, I think a lot of us grew up with that fear, though.
I still have it, though.
Yeah.
I don't, like, if we went to the apartment complex pool, if I'm in there by myself, there's a shark. It's going to come in. That's just...
Be that invisible shark.
Exactly. In his 2007 book, Ozark Tales of Ghosts, Spirits, Hauntings, and Monsters, author W.C. Jameson claims that the first Native American residents and then later Euro-American residents told of a beast that lived in a limestone cave and haunted the Little Red River.
Which we did find out, and I did learn it earlier,
yes.
That limestone, if you did not know, is... let me look it back up, because I had the definition. Because I had heard that limestone kind of like amplifies the paranormal, and I thought it was really interesting how the said creature lived in a limestone cave.
And I did not know limestone had any kind of like ties with the paranormal.
Yeah. It says limestone has been suggested to possess paranormal properties primarily through the stone tape theory. This theory proposes that limestone, along with other materials like quartz and magnetite, can store information such as historical events and then replay them, potentially causing residual hauntings. Some paranormal investigators believe limestone absorbs and releases magnetic and psychic energies, which could explain why certain locations, including those with limestone structures, might be more prone to paranormal activity. And I found that very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely, because I had no idea. It said that it would kill people and animals and emit a scream that was a cross between a cry of a panther and the scream of Satan himself. When Greer's Ferry Lake was created by the construction of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers Dam between 1959, that is a mouthful also, between 1959 and 1962, the creature's habitat was flooded. Jameson writes, leading to fewer reports of the monster until 1966, or so, when he claims sightings of the water panther were reported with frightening regularity. Instead of roaming the woods of the bottomlands, the beast was now seen swimming in the lake, with several people claiming that they saw the water panther entering and leaving a cave located on the northern shore of the lake, a partially submerged natural opening in a sheer limestone cliff.
I wonder if we could go there and find that.
Potentially.
Yeah. We would probably have to have a boat, though. Or kayaks.
Yeah. She's trying to kill me, y'all. Girl.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No, you aren't. You and Brenna literally tried to kill me one time on Pinnacle.
That was Brenna, not me. Love you, Bren.
Yes. Jameson wrote of a scuba diver in the early 1970s who encountered a horrid man-like creature form covered in thick, dense fur near the entrance to an underwater cave. The creature moved with astonishing speed through the water and ripped off the diver's mask, but the hapless victim managed to fight it off and gain the surface, suffering from shock and lacerations. In this moment, when we filmed the first time, I said this reminded me of Sasquatch, which then led us to then have ChatGPT generate a Sasquatch mermaid. Which I will make her pop up in editing for here.
Right here. It's quite funny.
And so just needed to make sure we got to put that in there because it was really funny. He also claims that workers who were converting a cave into a boathouse for U.S. Senator John McClellan and installing an elevator to the cave from the senator's clifftop home were terrorized during the project as they were subjected to hellish screams and agonizing cries of some hideous creature living in the hole.
Well, y'all are taking away his home.
And honestly.
Rude people.
I'm just saying, in every instance in this, it's always when its habitat gets messed with that we find out that it's killing something.
Leave them alone. Jeez.
University of Central Arkansas, or UCA, Professor Mark Spitzer, while working on a book, The Legendary Arkansas Creatures, investigated the Heber Springs water panther. The Heber Springs Sun-Times ran a front-page story in 2011 requesting that anyone who knew of the creature contact Spitzer. But the only person who did was a man from Tumbling Shoals, which is in Claiborne County, who reported a 6-foot-long black panther slinking through his neighbor's yard, sporting what looked like a mohawk.
His hackles be up.
Spitzer questioned boat dock owners and members of Claiborne County Historical Society, none of whom who had even heard of the water panther, and looked through every single issue of Heber Springs Evening Times between 1970 and 1979 without finding a single reference to the beast. He concluded that and agreed with what a crabby old man in a golf cart told him. Son, you're just chasing around some bullshit.
I have to agree to disagree, sir.
Yeah, crabby old man on a golf cart.
Disagree.
Also, we need a gavel.
Yes.
Myth busted. So that is the Heber Springs water panther.
Heck yeah. Now we're going to have to go back out to Grace Ferry Lake and go see if we can see a water panther for ourselves and not be
eaten,
killed, or dragged underwater or anything.
Just be like, we come in peace, but please don't put us in pieces.
We just want to pet the kitty.
I couldn't get my straw.
The water kitty. Anywho. Okay. Moving that because I don't want that to interrupt anything. Okay. So my first one is the White River Monster. Its nickname is Whitey. I'm just going to say White River Monster. She's not
comfortable saying Whitey.
I mean, I guess like, what'd you say? Did you say I was racist?
No.
What'd you say?
I said because you're white.
Oh, fine. I'll say it.
No, definitely don't if you don't feel comfortable.
The first recorded sightings of Whitey are from 1915, but the creature has allegedly been seen since the American Civil War. On July 1st of 1915, a plantation owner spotted Whitey.
Wow. Don't say it if you...
Yeah. I didn't realize that the first time.
Just say
stating that it had gray skin and was as wide as a car and 3 cars long. Sightings didn't happen again until 1971 when a variety of descriptions emerged. One witness said the creature was gray and had a horn protruding from its forehead, while other descriptions made note of a spiny back.
Narwhal, swimming in the ocean, causing a commotion.
Yeah, the horn protruding from its forehead made me think of a narwhal. Maybe narwhals don't actually look like how we think they look like.
Maybe not. Maybe they actually look scary.
Probably ones back from
like
the early
times,
1900s,
yeah.
maybe. I don't know. Okay. Other features such as 3 or 5-toed footprints measuring 14 inches long and unidentified sounds that have been reported as well. According to cryptozoologist Roy P. Mackle, the creature is nothing more than an elephant seal that entered the White River via the Mississippi River. Another possibility is that the White River monster is simply a large unidentified fish. An unlikely possibility could be that it is presumed to be an extinct word here, how able to survive in the freshwater of the White River rather than the saltwater of the ocean where it used to roam. I'm very curious as to what this fish looks like, because I can just imagine if it's from the ocean, it probably is very scary.
Oh yeah,
Especially
the
if
ocean
it's
has
lived
some
that long.
scary ass shit.
Yes, it does. Yeah, yes, it does. Also, side note, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling, Harry Potter's books mention the White River monster as a source of wand cores for the American Wizard, specifically the spines of the creature, and it is also in the Fantastic Beasts novels, not the
Harry Potter
ones. But yeah, I'd like to believe that it's an elephant seal or something, and I would like to go see it if it is.
Can I pet that dog?
Can I pet that dog?
She'd be like,
I want to pet that dog.
You'd be like, hi, you don't know me, but
So White River monster, the
water panther.
Water panther. I have a dog and a cat. There we go. We're good.
You're not wrong.
I'm collecting them all. They're like Pokemon.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Cryptoids.
Cryptoids.
Jesus.
Hell yeah.
So
But yeah, that's the White River monster.
Lord have mercy. So I'm going to put 2 in one because these are very, very short. The first one, I could barely find anything on. It's called the Dagwala.
Yeah, I had never heard of that before.
Me either. And I honestly feel like ChatGPT just kind of found something, because anytime I searched anything, I could not find this specific creature.
Yeah.
But supposedly it is a shadow forest creature that sometimes was reported near the Wachita.
Wachita. I don't know.
Near
Words.
mountains in Arkansas.
Yep.
Descriptions often vary, but it's said to resemble a mix between a wild boar and a reptilian beast.
That is, I'm gonna have to find pictures of all these, because that sounds very interesting. A boar and a reptile.
I still...
That is like a nightmare in my head right
Yeah,
now.
absolutely. Well, because I first thought of Godzilla.
Oh.
And then now I'm almost wondering if it's Razorbacks. Like, are the Arkansans
worshipping a cryptoid?
Yeah, because
Woo, Big
Razorbacks.
Suey. That's gonna be so freaking funny if that's actually
We could make merch, but instead of having the Razorback, it could be
Dagwala.
D-A-G.
Dagwala. I'll guarantee you that's the Razorback.
I need you to create that merch, Miss
Yeah,
Ma'am.
I can. Yeah,
Little hint for later.
that's our Razorback, the Dagwala. We stand Dagwala.
And then the second one, which I'm going to go ahead and say is probably debunked, just because the name that they picked for this is already a bird. This is the Arkansas snipe.
I was so confused about this.
Not
one.
to be confused with the actual bird snipe. This is the Skeeter, a fearsome critter in the form of a giant insect. The legend tells that a lumberjack was lost in Arkansas. He went up the hill to orientate himself, and when he came back, the horse wasn't there. 2 Arkansas snipes ate the horse, chomped the saddle, and then spat the horseshoes out.
Jesus.
In another version of this, the giant insects devour a cow and brush their teeth with the cow's horns.
Oh my God.
An American salesman and a man named Daniel were searching for the cow. The 2 men started walking around the swamp, and then soon they heard the bell of a cow walk to see said cow. When they arrived, they saw the dead cow with the mosquito standing on 2 feet, shaking the bell to call the other cows to meet their demise.
Yoo-hoo! Cows, come on.
Fix them a blowout.
What are you doing in my swamp?
And so it said that the mosquitoes looked more like raccoons because they had claws that, if they kicked the cow, would pierce the heart.
I don't like that.
So giant mosquito.
I already hate mosquito hawks, even though mosquito hawks don't do anything.
Just imagine the diseases that a skeeteroo would carry around.
Yeah, no. And it's big enough to eat a cow.
Which means it could eat us.
Yeah, no.
It could eat a human.
That's the only one I really hope.
I don't think it's because
I don't think it is, but
the only thing I could find on it, because like most, like you can look up Sasquatch and you can find all these photos, or you can look up various things and find photos, but the only photo I could find of this was a drawing that looked like a Pokemon card. So
I'm telling you, they're all Pokemon.
So I think this has been debunked, not a real one, especially since they used a name that was already a bird.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to get clicks.
I was thinking of like hunting for snipes, which did not know snipe was an actual bird.
So she did me
learn
learn it, and then I did her at learn it.
Yep. Yep. All right.
The Skeeteroo.
Skateroo. Leave it to Arkansas to name something. Skateroo. Okay. So the next one is the Gowrow. 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 I have no idea.
Gowrow.
Gowrow?
I feel like it's Gowrow.
Okay. The Arkansas Gowrow, name I can't pronounce, is a fearsome critter said to live in the caves of Arkansas, mainly in Searcy County. It gets its name because of the horrible Gowrow noise it makes when it kills its prey. The Gowrow is one of the lesser-known cryptids, but it is a popular tale among the locals in northern Arkansas. They said it could be something made up by mothers in the secluded area to make sure their children were returned home before sundown.
I feel like that's a notorious thing
Yeah.
for like people who live out in the middle of nowhere to come up with some kind of be afraid of the woods. Don't go in there.
Don't go in there, Timmy. Make sure you're home before the lights turn on.
Otherwise, it's going to get you.
I'd be scared.
I would
I'd
too.
go running. However, some seem to think otherwise. The first recorded sighting of the Gowrow appeared in an article of the Arkansas Gazette published on January 31st, 1897. That's insane. The article was written by Elbert Smithy with an illustration of the cryptid provided by Elmer Burris. Smithy received the information for his article from a traveling Little Rock businessman by the name of William Miller. Miller reported that he had been passing through the tiny town of Blanco in Calf Creek Township, Searcy County, on business when he heard the locals talking about the slaughtering of their pets and livestock. They blamed the incidents on the local cryptid called the Gowrow. Miller had then decided to form a group who tracked the Gowrow to a cave littered with animal remains and even what he claimed to be human skeletons. It wasn't long before the group heard it surface from the lake nearby. When are we ever gonna learn to leave stuff alone?
Never.
Leave them alone.
It's just not in human nature.
Oh my gosh.
I mean,
it's
literally,
not.
look at you being like, I want to pet that dog.
Yeah, I want to pet that dog. I don't
you'd
want
be
to hunt that
yeah,
dog.
you'd also be respectful. You'd be like, I'm
Yeah.
gonna look at you from afar, and I'm not actually.
I'm going to be like, I won't tell anybody where you're at. I just want to chill. I just want to
It's
hang
like the bear.
out. Okay. Yeah. The Game and Fish Commission had told people to leave this little black bear alone that's in our local community. It goes between two different cities. There's been multiple sightings of it, and people just cannot mind their own business, and they post its whereabouts on a Facebook page, letting people know
Exactly where it is.
where it's at. It's like, if you want to take pictures of it, cool, post it online, okay, cool, you're appreciating the bear, but quit telling people where it's at, because there's going to be those people that want to go and kill it. Like,
Okay,
leave it
sweet, you can't see
alone.
my foot.
And everybody has been telling the Game and Fish, because they're like, oh, come relocate it. The Game and Fish, leave it alone. It's literally not doing anything. Those things are going to be way more scared of you than you are of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little one too. Like, leave it alone. Like, gosh dang. Come live in our apartment complex, Mr. Bear. We'll leave you alone. We'll give you food. Anyway. So after a long tussle where it uprooted trees, killed several horses, and tore a man's leg off, Miller's group managed to kill the creature and examined its remains. The Gowrow, neared 20 feet in length, had large clawed webbed feet, short horns along its back, and a long tail ending with a blade. Miller then went on to claim that he had sent the body off to the Smithsonian Institution, but had never arrived. Go figure.
Shocker.
Yeah. The entire encounter had been dismissed by Fred W.
Oh.
Alsop, editor of the Gazette at the time, as a great fake, probably without foundation, in fact. And I was saying earlier that this gives me very much... This gives me very much... that is strange. Okay. Well, looking at it, it doesn't give me Pete's Dragon, but the story itself gives me Pete's Dragon. I'll pop up a picture, because this thing is quite creepy looking.
Tail.
Yeah, it has a blade at the end of it. Oh, I'd probably faint if I saw that thing. Okay. That encounter alone sounds like something out of a fairy tale, and considering that the story comes from the hodgepodge of Ozark myths and legends, it needs to be taken with a grain of salt. But this wasn't the only recorded encounter. Vance Randolph, an Ozark folklore research collector, discovered added information that possibly dated back as early as the 1880s. He was led to believe that the Gowrow whatever, was actually an entire species of creatures that hatched from soft-shelled eggs the size of beer kegs.
That's fucking massive.
That is like as big as your chair.
Yep.
That's a huge fucking egg. No. Were you gonna say something?
Burn it with fire. Like, that's fucking huge.
That's creepy. Another report of the Gowrow came from someone from Fouke County. He had claimed to capture a Gowrow by feeding the cryptid so many dried apples that it became too large to escape into its burrow. Again, giving me very much Pete's Dragon. He then would show his capture to anyone willing to pay a quarter, but he never had proof. He never had to prove that he had caught an actual Gowrow. For when he gained a large enough audience, he would appear out from behind a curtain in tattered clothing, claiming that the Gowrow escaped. Of course. Typical scheme.
First of all, one, as an audience, how do you not, like, where would it, if it's so big, where the fuck is it going to go?
Yeah.
Somebody's going to see it.
Oh, it just happened to escape.
I hate
It's
people.
over 20 feet.
I
Like,
hate
goodness
people.
gracious. In the end, the Gowrow may remain just as elusive as the Loch Ness Monster at Bigfoot. Maybe somewhere deep under the exaggerations of the stories, there is some truth. Although, then again, maybe it's just an old wives' tale. You never know. Anywho, real or not, the fact that a 20-foot lizard monster could be wandering around would make even the bravest adult return home before dark.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yep.
I'd be
You
like,
don't catch me out there with no lake lizard.
I mean,
20-foot lizard monster. Same thing. Jesus.
so my next and final one is the Ozark Howler. The Ozark Howler, or the Ozark Black Howler. It's funny, you had the White River Monster and I have the Black Howler.
You chose it before
I
me.
did, and that was not intentional. The Ozark Black Howler legend has been passed down for generations by locals who have heard things that they could not describe and have seen things that couldn't be described as animals that you would expect to find in the heart of Ozarks. Its frightening sound and eerie appearance has been seen in the I'm good. I'm not as tired as I was last time. It's just the words. Its frightening sound and eerie appearance have been seen in more remote parts of the Missouri and Arkansas Ozarks, and even further west in Oklahoma and South Texas.
Crazy. That's a
wide range. Yeah. It is typically described as being around the size of a bear, with a thick body, stocky legs, black shaggy hair, and having prominent horns.
Can I pet that dog?
I don't know that you want to pet this dog.
I want to pet that dog.
I bet you do. Most agree that it is either black or dark in color. Its cry is often described as being a combination of a wolf's howl and an elk bugle. Skeptics claim that it is an eastern cougar, black bear, or some kind of wolf or feral hound. Sightings have been officially recorded since the 1950s, though many Ozark families can pass on stories from their parents and grandparents experiencing the chill of seeing the Ozark Howler well before that time.
It has to be real if there's been stories since back then.
Oh, yeah.
Just my take.
I mean, I believe in all kinds of cryptids.
Yeah.
Like, they're there. You can't tell me they're not.
No. They're just smarter than us.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Between 2005 and 2010, the Howler, also known as the Devil Cat, was spotted several times. A family living north of Van Buren in the Boston Mountains of Crawford County set out trail cams after spotting what they believed was a cougar. The images they supplied to Fort Smith television station appeared to show a big cat similar to a cougar. The problem is that wildlife officials maintain there is not a breeding population of cougars left in Arkansas.
I wish we had those photos.
I might be able to find them.
Yeah. If we can, we'll pop them up. If we can't, then
I'll try to find them.
just use your imagination.
They do concede that it is possible there might be individual big cats living in the mountains, pointing out that they likely were once held as pets but escaped or were turned loose by their owners.
Sad.
The howl, as you might expect, is the hallmark of the Arkansas Howler. Its sound has been described as a very deep, guttural, as well as high-pitched howl. Others have said that it is described as the both unearthly scream and half-human. One of the most common descriptions of the sound is like the screams of a woman.
Yep.
Those who have heard the screams that pierce the night never forget the chill that ran up their spine and the feeling of dread that washes over them. Some claim that the sounds are made by animals commonly found in the region, They point to the screams and the howls of animals like the red fox, fisher cat, and even some fighting raccoons.
As long as I'm not hearing it screaming, we're good. Although I'm sure it just screams to make people stay the hell away from it.
Either that or it screams to lure people out.
Oh, that's true.
Because, I mean, think if it's
I guess
screaming,
it just depends on how dumb you are.
if it's screaming like a woman and you're thinking like, oh, I'm going to be the hero.
That's
like,
true.
Like,
People
let me
are
come
going to
help.
want to go help. But that's so sad that if that's the case, that, you know, the things do that. And we were talking about this in the last episode. If someone's like actually needing help, like people are not going to go help you because they're going to think they're just being lured out. That's so sad. So the last one that we're going to talk about today, which there's obviously way more information on this thing, but that could be for its own episode or multiple episodes on its own. But this is just some information about the one that's local to us, which is Bigfoot, the Fouke monster. Fouke monster.
Fauke.
Fouke. Okay. Arkansas. No, because then I'm going to start saying that. Fouke. Okay. Arkansas is known for its Bigfoot sightings, particularly in the town of Fouke, which is dubbed the Bigfoot capital of Arkansas. Did not know that.
I think that's pretty cool that we have a Bigfoot
need to go
capital.
there.
I'm pretty sure I've driven through it.
The name sounds so familiar. Like, didn't you look it up? Where was it at? Do you remember?
No, but I can.
While you look that up, I'm gonna
proceed.
So, in Arkansas folklore, the Fouke monster, also known as the Boggy Creek monster, and the Swamp Stalker, is said to be a humanoid creature similar to the descriptions of Bigfoot that was allegedly sighted in the rural town of Fouke, Arkansas during the early 1970s. The creature was alleged to have attacked a local family. It has since become a part of Arkansas folklore. Stories of the creature influenced the 1972 docudrama horror film The Legend of Boggy Creek, which became the 11th highest grossing film of 1972 and is today considered to be a cult classic. The legend and the film have made Fouke a popular destination for Bigfoot enthusiasts and tourists. Lyle Blackburn knows much about this history. He is the narrator and producer of the documentary film Boggy Creek Monster and author of many books, including The Beast of Boggy Creek. In general, most people associate Bigfoot with the Pacific Northwest. However, there is a long history of sightings of Bigfoot-like creatures all across the United States, with a considerable concentration of them in Arkansas and the surrounding states. Newspapers published in the 1800s had stories about encounters with the wild men. These alleged wild men are described much like Bigfoot, which are 6 to 7 feet tall, covered in hair, walking upright on 2 legs, and often leaving large human-like footprints. In 1851, the Arkansas Gazette, 2 hunters near Greene County were startled by a large hair-covered animal as it was trying to catch a calf. In 1856, the Cato Gazette, men were pursuing a hairy wild man on horseback when it attacked them. 1865, Ozark County Book, Otto Rayburn recounted the story of a giant wild man captured in the Ouachita Mountains near Saline County. So, prior to the 20th century, several alleged sightings in the general area related to a large hairy creature circulated in an 1851 report in the Memphis Inquirer and an 1856 report in the Cato Gazette. Cato, whatever. Local residents claim that the creature had roamed the area since 1964, but those sightings had not been reported. Local folklore also holds that the creature can be further traced back to sightings in 1946. Most early sightings were allegedly in the region of Jonesville, as the creature was known as the Jonesville Monster during this period. It's still crazy to me that they just like move all over the place. What are you looking up?
So I was curious because Chris used to go to a church camp in Bog Springs, and so I was like, okay, Boggy Creek, like,
yeah,
is it related? It's an hour outside, or almost 2 hours outside of Fouke. So I don't think it's in relation, but it is near the Wichita National Forest.
Yeah.
So
I firmly believe that National Forest house a lot of
I'm gonna have to ask
entities, cryptoids, stuff like that.
if
that
he
we
experienced anything there, because they used to go like every summer.
Interesting.
Sorry, that was way
No,
off
you're
topic.
good.
I was just
You are good.
Excuse me. What? Thank you.
Okay. In 1955, the creature was allegedly spotted by a 14-year-old boy who described it as having reddish-brown hair, sniffing the air, and not reacting when it was fired upon with birdshot. Investigator Joel Nickel observed that the description was consistent with a misidentified black bear. I don't think so. I think they were just wanting to
cover it up.
Yeah. Yeah. The Fouke monster is generally described as a 7-foot-tall, hair-covered, ape-like creature, which is essentially a Bigfoot. The term Bigfoot wasn't really known around the South at all at the time sightings were first published in 1971, so a journalist at the Texarkana Gazette called it the Fouke monster. Without an actual specimen, it's impossible to know if this creature differs from a traditional Bigfoot, but essentially the Fouke monster is a southern Bigfoot. Without an actual specimen, do they have specimens from normal Bigfoots other than like
they might have
prints and stuff?
They might have like oh, this is a specimen, but it's probably just like a recreation.
Oh, okay. Because I know they have like feet castings and stuff of Bigfoot. Interesting. The Fouke monster and the town itself remain very popular among Bigfoot enthusiasts due to the legend of Boggy Creek, along with the modern-day television coverage. People come from all around the globe to visit Fouke and or attend the various Fouke monster festivals and events. I want to go one day.
I do too.
And it is surely Arkansas's most celebrated legend, and one that might actually be real given the numerous eyewitnesses' accounts that are still being reported today. I believe it's real. I believe in you, Bigfoot.
Fucker, we missed it.
Oh
It
no!
was last month. It's in April.
Well, now we'll know for next year.
Also,
Dang it.
just to make a little I made a little side joke. We have survived and spotted the Yeti before.
Yeah, I was so lost when she said that.
I
thought it was one of our stories, but it was.
It was an escape from or Expedition Everest at Disney, but
yeah, very scary.
I just
Very
wanted
scary.
to throw that in there because I'm in park mode right now because I'm planning.
Yep. But on that, we have some Reddit stories, but we also have personal stories too. A few from my dad, which I'll have to have him like dive deeper into the details and stuff like that. But two of them that I remember him telling me about. Excuse me. He was out hunting somewhere in Arkansas, and he was up on his deer stand, and he said that he heard something very, very, very large running up behind him, stopped. I don't know if he heard it breathing or whatever it was doing, but then it ran off. And my dad, of course, was still and didn't turn around and didn't, see what it was. But he said it didn't sound like a normal deer. It sounded much bigger, kind of like what you think like a horse would sound like, but not like a gallop, like it's something as big as a horse, I would assume. What's up?
So the Monster Festival is actually hosted to raise funds and to award scholarships to the high school seniors.
Oh, that's awesome.
Also, this is Monster Mart.
Oh my God, we're going to have to bring Dad there. That's freaking cool. Living there would be freaking amazing.
There's literally no hotels. That's how small the town is.
Wow. But where do people go? I guess you just drive. Oh, you just camp. Oh no.
Yeah, literally. There are no hotels or motels in Fouke. If you would like to stay in the area, you will need to book a hotel nearby, Texarkana, or camp.
We can camp.
We got this.
We'll be fine.
Oh, hey, there's a place that offers free camping.
Interesting. But another one about my dad is very brief. He was in a tent, and he had what sounded like rocks being thrown at the tent, which was quite weird. But we, speaking of tents, also had an experience at a state park here in Arkansas. It is Woolly Hollow in Greenbrier. Yeah. So we were at the site right by a trailhead, and I can probably pop in some pictures if I can find any. But anyway, so there's one person to our left, woods behind us, trailhead to our right. There's not somebody that's down a little bit. Well, behind us is all woods and trails. Off to the right is a lake and a ridge line. I would say probably around like 3 o'clock.
Yeah, it was definitely 3 in the morning.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. Her and I both wake up to what sounded like the loudest woman scream. I have never heard anything like that in my life.
And we haven't since either.
No. And we've been out there many other times after that. But we heard that, and I mean, it was so loud. And it woke us up. It woke my dog up. My dog was alerted. And needless to say, it scared us so bad we did not get out of the tent the rest of that until morning. Not. But yeah, that was absolutely terrifying. And we tried looking up screams from like local animals.
Nothing recreates it.
No.
Because it was like if it was a woman in agonizing pain screaming for help.
And it wasn't just like kind of like how foxes, they kind of go like, ah, ah.
Like it's like
it was like a drawn out for like a few seconds.
Yeah.
And there's nothing out there other than trails and woods and cow fields.
And like we've heard, we know the coyote call. Like that's familiar to us.
Wasn't coyote. It was no noise that a cow could make. As far as I'm aware, there's no big cats out there. I don't know. We know other animals can make noises like that, but I really don't know. It could have been.
It was suspicious, and after that,
it scared the mess out of us. Yeah, we'll say that much.
We initiated the buddy system, even to walk 10 feet to go to the bathroom.
Yes, so. Absolutely. We also told another story of your husband distracted me. He has food. No, so. Since I was already on edge, I can't remember if this happened before or after that had happened.
I think it was after. I'm not 100%.
This bitch, she made me watch The Descent a little bit before we went camping. So I think I was already on edge because I think this was after the scream had happened. First of all, my dad was so pissed that we did not get him up. But our asses were not leaving the tent in the middle of the night to wake him up because he is a big Bigfoot enthusiast. Plus, I mean, he was so jealous we heard that.
And he missed, like, it wouldn't have come back through again.
You're going to go hiking in the middle? He wants to go on the trails in the middle of the night. Crazy man.
I'll go with him. Wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he wants to go out there. He wants to, like, knock on trees and stuff in the middle of the night. Y'all can do it next time. And, but, anywho, so my butt, I think I was, like, in and out of sleep, but I was dreaming that we were in the tent, and I was hearing stuff outside the tent, and so I unzipped the little flap so I could see out of the mesh.
In her dream?
In my dream. And I see cannibals that looked like the ones from The Descent tearing into all of our stuff. I could just hear them going around our tent. Well, come to find out the next morning whenever we get up, there had been raccoons that got into our hot chocolate.
These bitches.
Packets. We left a box of the old Swiss Miss packets of hot chocolate on the freaking bench.
They got everyone
the picnic
but
table.
one.
They only left us one, them greedy little turds. But
I can just see their grubby little hands like licking the chocolate.
Yeah. So while I was sleeping, I was hearing the noises of the raccoons and hearing them around the tent, and my brain thought cannibals. And that's what I thought of.
But it was raccoons.
But it was raccoons. Yeah. Yeah.
You're special.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was freaked out. So I have I have two little Reddit stories, and then Denisha has one as well. So the first one is more or so like theories that this guy has about Bigfoot. It's from Corey Balori. So he says, one of the theories I've heard about Bigfoot that makes hypothetical sense, if they do exist.
They exist.
To explain why trail cameras fail to capture them is threefold. One, they're migratory. If you look at sightings mappings over time, the data could be interpreted that way. Migratory creatures need to know which way is north, so they would need to be able to sense electromagnetic fields, such as geese, ducks, caribou, salmon, and other migratory animals can. This did her learned because she did not know that.
I did not know that. I thought they just knew, which I mean, I guess
they do just know.
Yeah, but like I didn't think about the electromagnetic fields.
You see a little goose with a compass, like which way is north? We go north during the summer, and we go south during the winter. One of them, the leader, carries a little
compass around its neck.
2, they are smart enough to have associated random electromagnetic fields with people and avoid them. We almost always have electromagnetic devices with us, such as cell phones. A lot of the people that have the most reported contact with Bigfoot do so with their electronics turned off. People that lived here before the invention of electricity, and absolutely no doubt about their existence, as they frequently came into contact with them, reportedly. A camera sitting there in idle mode will emit a small electromagnetic field. which makes sense because the show that my dad watches, I think it's Expedition Bigfoot, they have caught some evidence, but not a lot. But that would make sense that they can.
I wonder if a disposable camera would allow you to get
We need to try
footage.
it.
Because I don't think there would be electromagnetic fields on a disposable.
No, I can just imagine us walking through the fields and or the woods and having a disposable camera be like, "Hi, Bigfoot, say cheese," and then they'll flash.
All right.
It would get so pissed,
Oh, no,
probably.
yeah, absolutely. I think it would end up being like your story that you did for your dad, where just like,
You're done. And 3, they're very, very smart. Maybe as smart as we are, but instead of smarter. I think they're smarter.
yeah.
But instead of evolving to use their intelligence to shape their environment to suit them as we did, they evolved to use their intelligence to become masters of their environment as it is. They're difficult to capture on film because they're observant, intelligent, have very sharp senses. Just for reference, based on brain shape, the Neanderthal had better eyesight than we did, so it's not unbelievable that they do too. And the most experienced concealment and invasion practitioners on the planet. Being quiet and moving quickly in the woods is a learned skill, one that they both would have very experienced teachers to mimic and have plenty of experience themselves at doing. Also, just my own little theory, I think they might be a little extraterrestrial too. So another quick little one is from Hopeless Pan. She says, I was there, but I was also 3 and don't remember much. So my father and some of his friends wanted to go frog gigging, and there was a flooded field that was perfect for it. So we all go out, and I'm mostly staring into the water because I'm 3 and I just don't care. Eventually, we all hear something running through the water, which would have been near impossible for a person considering the field was flooded to around 3 feet. Everyone freaked out, ran to the truck, and this is where my memory fails me. According to my father, as well as everyone that was there, mud balls started to get thrown at them. These were maybe a little smaller than bowling balls, but big nonetheless. They all drive out to get me away from whatever it was, and then they went back out there to look for it. They had one .45 pistol between all of them, so if it was Bigfoot, it probably wouldn't do too much.
Yeah,
No. I don't really believe in Bigfoot, and I don't believe they'd live up this way on the ridge, but maybe, aside from that, nothing else happens around here except for gigantic deer and a bear every now and then. First of all, I feel like if it was a human, they would have known that there was a human out there.
Yeah,
Plus,
absolutely.
I feel like it would be hard for a human to run in 3 foot of water because that's like
Half a human size.
almost to your hip.
Yeah.
And to have mud balls thrown at you,
Like thick.
like smaller than a bowling ball, but like you would have to have a huge ass hand to throw that much, or using 2 hands just to hurl it.
Yeah, and you're going to hear the like, ooh.
Yeah. Like there's Bigfoot.
Confirmed. Bigfoot.
And then
So
donations.
the one she found for me is from the Half-Blood Waste, which I'm wondering if that's a call to the Half-Blood Prince.
Guarantee you it is. Part of the reason why I chose it.
Probably. This person says, I've got a couple. When I was in college, I used to work at the Crescent Hotel in Eureka Springs as a ghost tour guide. During the summers, we had a program called Campfire Tales, where us tour guides would literally just head down to a bonfire in the back and tell guests tall tales. And legends
That's
of
a tongue twister.
Yeah, honestly. And legends of the Ozarks, rather than just ghost stories of the hotel. As such, I learned many of the local stories. One story we told was that of the monster of Peter Bottom Howler, a real location that wasn't terribly far from us. The short of the story is that there's a terrible monster that lives in a cave at the bottom of the Howler, described as covered in pale, shaggy fur, smelling like rot, and standing 8 to 10 feet in height.
That's so freaking big.
In the legend, when it is first sighted, it is hunched over, tearing into animal carcasses. I lived in Fayetteville at the time and actually commuted back and forth to Eureka for work. It was about an hour drive each way. Some nights I got off work very late at night. This was one of those nights. It was about 1 a.m. when I started back to Fayetteville, along those narrow back roads, and those are some windy fucking roads.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Given that they were unlit and passed through some woods, I developed a habit of keeping a keen eye out for deer and other animals. As I rounded a bend, I suddenly came upon a very large animal of some sort on the shoulder of the road. Its pale hair reflected harsh and stark in the light of my high beams. It was hunched over, munching on something, possibly roadkill. It was huge. Had it stood, it would have easily been 8 to 10 feet. I slowed down as I passed it, particularly from caution, but partially to guac. Guacamole?
Guacamole.
Gawk. But no matter how hard I scrutinized it, I had no idea what it was. Only one creature I'd ever heard of matched this description, but that was obviously impossible. Eventually, I had to drive on. Now, despite being a ghost tour guide, I am a skeptic at best. I love the art of storytelling. I love folklore, legends, and tall tales, but I just can't say I believe in any of it. I was baffled. The next day, I went on into work. I asked my coworkers about it. I described the creature, hoping they would simply know more about the wildlife in the area and have a reasonable explanation. But each one of them, in turn, was just as stumped as I. Oh my God, did you actually see the monster of Peterbottom Hollow? One coworker asked in astonishment. I felt incredibly silly answering that question at all.
But you did.
Honestly.
But you did.
About the fifth coworker I talked to leaned back, scratched his chin, and said, "Sounds like a wild hog." His reasoning? We got them around these parts. They're bigger than most people think and will scavenge anything. Now, have I ever seen a hog with fur that long? Nope, but I'm willing to accept that answer. A perfectly reasonable, non-supernatural explanation.
Now you saw it.
You saw the Peter Hollow.
Yeah.
Howler.
Which I think is very similar to the
Ozark Howler.
Yeah, because they're in the same general area.
Mm-hmm.
They just call it different for the area.
But it would make sense too because it's like a hog-like creature.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but I believe in these things. I agree. But yes. So before we end the episode, I just wanted to do a quick little shout out for another podcast. If you guys would like to go check them out and follow them, they are the OPC. Put their name down, podcast, One Pump Chumps.
We will put the links below as well.
Yep. They are a group of guys just kind of chilling out, having fun. They post some gaming videos and stuff like that.
They talk about some movies, I think, occasionally in sports and stuff like that.
Yeah. So if that's something you guys are interested in, go check them out. But yeah, other than that,
thanks for listening to episode 16.
If you have any experiences with any of these things or any stories
any
of any
cryptids,
of these things,
any paranormal,
comment, message us at the Afterlife Hotline at gmail.com. We'd love to hear them.
Or shoot us a DM, whatever is easiest. And with that being said, thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys.
We will see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Thank you for calling the Afterlife Hotline, where the ghosts are chatty and the hosts are, well, questionable at best. Press 1 to replay this episode and question your life choices. Press 2 to summon us back next week. No Ouija board required. Press 3 to hang up. But let's be real, something's probably still listening. That's it for this call, but don't worry. We're like ghosts, we always come back. Until next time, stay spooky, stay weird, and maybe don't answer that strange knock at your door. Goodbye!